The morning shift at Aldrin Tech always smelled like lemon disinfectant and burnt coffee, and to Nate Harlow that scent was just part of survival. He pushed his mop bucket along the polished marble floor, listening to the echo of his steps bounce beneath the high ceilings. He had been a janitor for barely a year, but he had already memorized nearly every crack, every scuff mark, every shadow that fell across the building's many hallways. He wasn't supposed to be here forever, but being a single dad meant steady pay mattered more than dreams. His daughter Ella was only 8, too smart, too fierce, and too in need of the stability he never had. So Nate took the job and kept his head down. Aldrin Tech's employees rarely acknowledged him. They stepped around him like an obstacle and spoke past him like a ghost, except for one person, the CEO's daughter, Lily Aldrin. Lily was 11 with soft brown, haircut blunt at her shoulders and a pink backpack, decorated with crocheted flowers. She walked with a near-silent shuffle and always kept her noise-canceling headphones clutched tight. The entire building knew she was autistic because the CEO had announced it in some corporate town hall speech about inclusion. But knowing wasn't the same as caring. People avoided her. They avoided anything they didn't understand. But Nate noticed her eyes flicking across the room trying to find patterns, her fingers tapping in rhythmic loops on her backpack straps, her way of keeping the world organized and predictable. One Tuesday morning, she sat alone in the vast glittering lobby, staring at a spinning light fixture like it was a galaxy. She hummed under her breath, rocking gently. The receptionist whispered to another employee, and they both shrugged as if Lily's presence was inconvenient. Nate paused his mopping, watching her for a moment. His heart tugged. She reminded him of Ella and the way she counted ceiling tiles when overwhelmed, how people misread it as misbehavior. Nate set the mop aside, walked over and crouched so he didn't tower above her. "Hey, Lily," he said softly, "you okay?" She blinked twice, looked at him, studied his face like she was measuring honesty. Then she pointed to the light. "It's moving too fast today," she said. "I don't like when things move different." Nate nodded. "Want me to slow it down?" Her eyes widened. "Can you?" He smiled. "I can try." And he found the control panel behind the desk, turned the rotation speed down, and watched her shoulders relax. "You fixed it," Lily whispered. "Just helped a little," Nate said. "That's all." Someone behind him huffed. "You're not supposed to touch that equipment, janitor." But Nate didn't look away from Lily because she was finally smiling. Lily began seeking him out after that. She didn't speak much, but when she did, it was always direct, precise, and startling in its purity, something employees rarely offered Nate. The next week, he found her in a quiet corner, near a row of product display screens. She sat cross-legged, sketching circuit diagrams in a tiny notebook. The screens flashed advertisements for tech products, the kind Nate could barely afford, but Lily ignored them all. "You draw like an engineer," Nate said, tapping his broom handle to the floor. She looked up. "Mama says I could be anything, but people think I can't because I don't talk like them." "You can be anything," Nate said. "Talking isn't everything." She resumed her drawing, then paused. "Your daughter, Ella. She likes dinosaurs." Nate blinked. "How'd you know that?" "You talk about her when you clean the lobby in the evening." Lily said, "You talk quietly, but I hear things others don't." "Well, that's impressive," he said. Lily shrugged. "It's just how my brain works." They talked for 10 minutes until an assistant manager appeared, mouth tight, eyes critical. "Lily, your father doesn't want you bothering staff," she said, ignoring Nate entirely. "She's not bothering me," Nate said, but the manager, her name tag reading, Jessica, gave him a cold, dismissive stare. "Well, she shouldn't be down here unsupervised." Jessica snapped, "And you have work to do." Nate swallowed irritation. Lily didn't leave, though. She stood still, processing the tension, then she said softly, "Jessica uses too many perfume sprays. They make my head hurt." Nate coughed, trying to hide a laugh. Jessica stormed off, mumbling complaints about respect. Lily slipped her hand into her backpack, pulled out a tiny origami crane folded from graph paper, and set it on his bucket. "For making the light slow down," she said. Nate looked at the little crane, delicate, structured, perfect, and his throat tightened. "Thanks, Lily, I'll keep it safe." Rumors spread fast in big, shiny buildings. A janitor talking with the CEO's daughter, people whispered. Nate overheard phrases like overstepping boundaries and getting too comfortable, mixed with the arrogance of people who thought job titles defined worth. He ignored them. He cared about helping Lily, not their opinions. One afternoon, as he waxed the fourth-floor hallway, he heard footsteps sprinting. Lily burst out from an office area, hands over her ears, breathing fast. "Too loud, too loud, too loud," she repeated. Nate rushed to her. Hey, breathe with me, slow in, slow out." She mirrored him, her shoulders trembling. He guided her to a quiet stairwell. The hum of servers and buzzing, voices fading behind the thick walls. What happened? They were having a meeting. The speakerphone was sharp and high, and then they started arguing. And the papers were crinkling, and someone dropped a pen, and everything felt like too much. Nate nodded. "You did the right thing by stepping out." She looked at him. "They told me to sit still. They don't understand when I say it hurts." "I know," he said gently. For a moment she traced the grooves in the stairs with her fingertip, then asked, "Why do you listen to me?" "Because you deserve to be listened to," Nate said, "and because you remind me of Ella. She feels the world in bigger ways too." Lily smiled just barely. "People say I'm difficult. They're wrong. You're different. Different doesn't mean difficult." The door creaked open and the CEO, himself Victor Aldrin, appeared, tall, immaculate, face carved in tired stone expression. "Lily, I've been looking everywhere for you," he said, but then he noticed Nate. "And you are?" "Nate, janitor," Nate replied, standing quickly. "She just needed a quiet space, sir." Victor's eyes softened only slightly. "Thank you for helping her. She has challenges." Lily frowned. "Not challenges, Dad, patterns." He sighed. "Yes, patterns. But..." Nate saw something else, loneliness tangled in Lily's posture and exhaustion behind Victor's eyes, as if he was trying, but failing to bridge the gap between his world and hers. Before either could speak more, Victor's assistant rushed over, whispering frantic updates. The CEO nodded, grabbed his briefcase and left, leaving Lily staring after him quietly. Nate gently asked, "You okay?" She gave a small nod, but her fingers tapped uneven rhythms against her leg, an unspoken answer. Nate understood all too well. The next special event was the annual Autistic Innovation Gala, a night of suits, champagne projections of futuristic gadgets, and a ballroom filled with people pretending to care about things other than status. Nate wasn't supposed to be anywhere near it, but maintenance needed extra hands, so he was assigned to discreet floor duty, vacuuming corners, adjusting overheating lights, and making sure no one slipped on polished tile. Lily wandered in wearing a navy dress with a silver star hairpin. She twirled once, letting the fabric ripple around her. She didn't like crowds, but tonight she followed her father like a quiet moon orbiting a tense planet. People smiled politely at Victor, then subtly stepped away from Lily. She watched them with a blank stillness Nate had seen before in Ella, a protective withdrawal. Eventually, Lily found the corner where Nate was testing a cable connection. "You came," she said softly. "Technically I'm working," he said, "but yeah, I'm here." She stepped closer. "It's shiny in here, too shiny. The lights reflect on the floor tiles and make double shapes. I keep trying to count them, but they change when people walk." Nate chuckled. "I get confused by shiny floors, too." She studied him. "You're joking." He grinned a little. For the first time, she let out a tiny laugh. Suddenly, the band began playing a loud, upbeat song, the kind meant to draw people to the dance floor. Lily flinched, covering her ears. The vibrations rippled through her, and she froze, breathing too fast. Nate crouched. "Look at me, just me, okay? Focus on my hands." He lifted them slowly, matching a steady rhythm. She mirrored the movement, her breath syncing with the motion. It worked. The panic receded, replaced by calm curiosity. She swayed a little, then asked in a small voice, "Do people really enjoy this kind of noise?" "Some do," he said. "You don't have to." She looked at the dance floor, the swirling bodies, the bright lights, the relentless beat, then back at him. "I want to understand it," she murmured. "I want to know why they move like that." "That's okay," Nate said. "Understanding is good." Then she stepped back, eyes wide, thoughtful. "Will you show me?" "Show you what?" "How to dance." He blinked, startled. Lily, I'm not exactly a dancer." She shook her head. "I don't want fancy, I want patterns. Like how Ella likes to sort her dinosaur toys by color and type. I want to know the pattern of dancing." Nate hesitated, glancing at the sea of judgmental eyes across the room. Wealthy executives wouldn't look kindly on a janitor dancing with the CEO's daughter. They already whispered enough. But Lily's expression was open, earnest, hopeful. and he refused to be one more adult who told her no for the sake of appearances. Okay, he said, but we'll do it somewhere less loud first. He led her to the side hallway where the music thumped softer. Soft blue light washed over the carpet, creating a calm pocket of space. Dancing is like counting, he said, raising his hands. You step 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that. She followed, copying each step precisely, like walking with rules. Exactly. She practiced the sequence, then added a little sway, her eyes bright. That feels nice. You're a natural, he said. You say that, but you're smiling in a way that means you're proud, not joking, she said, studying his face. He laughed. Yeah, I guess I'm proud. They practiced until she could move confidently. Then Lily said, now I want to try in the real room. You sure? She nodded firmly, tapping her wrist twice the way she signaled certainty. When they returned to the ballroom, the song changed to something smoother, slower. Lily stepped forward, counting under her breath. People stared. Some whispered. Victor Aldrin himself turned, noticing the unusual sight. But Lily lifted her hand toward Nate, palm open, waiting. Dance with me, she said. And he couldn't refuse. The room seemed to hold its breath as they moved slowly among the glittering crowd. Nate careful and steady, Lily focused and graceful, matching the rhythm. In her own precise way, she didn't dance like the other guests, but she danced like herself, which made the moment more beautiful than anything else happening in that ornate room. Whispers rose. Why is she dancing with the janitor? Is that appropriate? Someone stop this before Victor sees. But Victor did see. He approached slowly, his eyes narrowed, not in anger but confusion and something more complicated. Lily noticed him and lifted her chin proudly. Dad, she said, I danced. Victor opened his mouth, closed it, then watched her movements. Really watched them for the first time. You're very good, he said, surprised. She nodded. Because Nate taught me the steps and didn't say I was wrong, and didn't tell me to stop, and didn't make me feel loud. Nate cleared his throat, suddenly aware he might get fired. Sir, I was just... Victor raised a hand, stopping him, then looked at his daughter. Lily, do you want to keep dancing? She hesitated, then looked at Nate. Only if Nate stays. Victor exhaled slowly, conflicted eyes softening. If he wants to, he may. Nate nodded, and they resumed moving to the melody. Lily more confident now, her pattern smoother, her joy quiet but unmistakable. For a moment the entire room faded, replaced by the simple rhythm of connection and understanding, but not everyone appreciated it. Jessica marched forward, heels cracking against the floor. Mr. Aldrin, this is highly unprofessional. He's staff. Victor turned a cold gaze on her. He is also a human being, Jessica. Something you forget too easily. Jessica paled, backing away. Lily squeezed Nate's hand once. Thank you, she whispered. And they danced. After the gala, everything shifted slightly. Employees who never spoke to Nate suddenly regarded him with curious stares. Some polite, some suspicious, and rumors grew louder. But Lily didn't change. She still found Nate during breaks, still whispered. Facts about circuitry still lined. Upper pencils and color gradients still. Folded tiny paper cranes. One afternoon, Victor called Nate to his office. Nate arrived uneasy, expecting reprimands or termination. Instead, Victor gestured to a chair. You've been spending a lot of time with my daughter, he said, and she seems happier. Nate nodded. She's a great kid, sir. She just needs people who listen. Victor rubbed his temples. I've tried, but it's difficult to balance the company and... I know, Nate said gently. It's hard being a parent alone. Victor looked up, surprised. You're a single father, too. Yeah, Ella's mom left years ago. It's just us. Victor leaned back. How do you manage? Badly some days, Nate said, but love helps and understanding helps even more. Victor stared at the city skyline for a long moment. Lily told me she danced because of you. She danced because she wanted to, Nate corrected. I just helped her find the pattern. Victor breathed out. I'd like to understand her patterns better. I want to be what she needs, but I'm not good at slowing down. You can learn, Nate said. She'll teach you if you let her. Victor gave a small, desperate laugh. I hope so. There was silence, then Victor added. I owe you something, Nate, for helping her more than anyone else has. You don't owe me anything, Nate said. Just treat her the way she deserves. Victor nodded. I intend to. But outside that office, someone listened, someone who did not appreciate the bond forming between Janitor and CEO's daughter, or the way Victor defended him, and that someone intended to interfere. The interference began quietly. Documents went missing from Nate's Cart equipment logs falsely. Reported he didn't complete tasks. Someone filed complaints claiming he spent too much time with Lily during work hours. Nate tried to ignore it, but suspicion grew around him until even friendly coworkers grew distant. One evening, as he emptied trash bins, he found Lily sitting atop the stairwell. Steps knees pulled to her chest, headphones off, a sign something was wrong. "Hey kiddo, you okay?" She shook her head. "People are saying bad things. They say you're in trouble because of me. They say you won't stay here much longer." Nate sat beside her, taking slow breaths. "Whatever happens isn't your fault, not even a little bit. But I don't want things to change," she whispered. "Patterns changing suddenly feel sharp. I liked how things were." "I know," he said softly. "I did too." She lowered her voice. "Dad is upset. He had a meeting. Jessica said you're disruptive and unprofessional, and that you confuse me." "I don't feel confused, I just feel heard." Nate clenched his jaw. "Lily, none of that is true, you know that, right?" She nodded, but her eyes shimmered. "What if they make you leave? I won't understand that pattern, it won't make sense." He placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Whatever happens, you'll be okay. And you'll keep dancing in your own way." She stared at him, then whispered, "Will you keep dancing too?" Nate opened his mouth to answer, but a sudden voice echoed down the hallway. Victor Aldrin, calling Nate's name, firm, urgent, cutting through the silence. Nate stood, heart pounding. Lily rose beside him, gripping the railing, her face twisting with uncertainty. Victor turned the corner, expression. Unreadable footsteps loud in the empty hall. He stopped. In front of them, locking eyes with Nate, then looking down at his daughter, whose hand trembled against the rail. And then Victor said something that made Lily's breath hitch and Nate's pulse freeze as the hallway. Lights hummed above them and everything held still, without ending, without conclusion, without closure, as the moment stretched, waiting for what would come next.